Jim Callis with MLB Pipeline here with Brennen Davis of the Cubs, member of our top 100 prospects list, reigning Cubs minor league player of the year. Brennen, thanks for being here today and doing this. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So are you in Arizona right now? I mean, is that where you're based out of during the quarantine times?
I am. I'm in Tempe, Arizona. Just
And
grinding
you're
out
from
quarantine.
Arizona, so it's like you're from Arizona, so I guess and the Cubs train in Arizona, so I guess it's all kind of conveniently located to some extent. What have you been doing to, I guess, stay in baseball shape and prepare for whatever's going to become of this season? During the 3 months baseball's been shut down.
So I've been really fortunate. I have a place to lift and hit, so that hasn't been a problem. And recently, guys have been wanting to throw live BPs, so I've been able to get at bats and start to get going with that aspect of things. So it hasn't been too hard for me to get my work in here because there's so much baseball in Arizona, and there's so many guys that want to stay in shape and want to stay ready. So I feel like it's been really helpful being here, honestly.
And then, speaking of live BP, we saw Tyson Miller tweeted out the other day. It looked like you took Corey Abbott deep in some live BP. How good did that feel? And how much of a hard time have you given him? And has he taken abuse that's circulated all over Twitter?
It's all in good fun, but we ragged on him for a little bit, but it felt really good.
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, as a fan and as a reporter, it was nice to hear that sound of the bat, like sweet spot contact and the ball coming off the bat. And we were talking about that tweet a little bit today. I know you're listed at 6'4", 175. I'm going to assume you probably weigh more than 175 these days, and that might be an old weight. What are you up to these days? Have you put on weight during the 3 months while you've been lifting, or?
I try not to get too heavy, but I'm at about like 208 right now. That's kind of where I want to be. I want to be at 205 to 212-ish in that area. I feel like that's my good playing weight right now. In the future, I want to get up to 215, 220 though.
Got you. So going back to your high school career, I know you were part of a state championship basketball team, I think your junior season, if I'm correct. And then
Yes.
and then the story I've heard was that you went to area code games that summer and you really performed well and realized that your future was going to be in baseball. Is that accurate? Is that how things kind of went down?
Yeah, it was always going to come down to which sport I saw myself going further in, and baseball started opening up doors and opportunities that I just couldn't pass up on.
Did you have the opportunity to play college basketball if you wanted? Were you getting recruited in both sports? I know you committed to Miami for baseball.
Yes, I was. I took visits to mostly Ivy League schools like Cornell and Yale for basketball.
Do you miss it at all?
Recruiting, I miss the adrenaline because it's such a high-paced game, and one guy can take over, and there's so much more that goes into it, like with the plays and all that. But I love the way that baseball is such a team-oriented game, and you have to rely on your teammates and you have to sacrifice for the team kind of. Basketball is like a really showy, like, I don't know, this is who I am and see if you can beat me kind of game. And I just like the way baseball's played, honestly.
And was it at the area code games? Was that specifically where you made that decision, or was that just a contributing factor?
Yeah, I would have to say that after the area code games, I definitely took baseball. It took me about a month after that to like really, because I didn't play my senior year of basketball. So after a month after, I was like, I don't know, like I really want to, because I hadn't committed to school and it was my senior year, and I was like, I really need to narrow it down and pick a road I'm going on. And yeah, after a long decision-making process, I decided to go with baseball.
Going into the draft in 2018, well, what were your expectations, Brendan? Now, if I remember correctly, I think you dealt with a hamstring injury a little bit during your senior year. Did you feel like your exposure was limited a little bit? Did you have a pretty good idea of where you were going in the draft, or on draft day was a little bit uncertain?
To say you're certain about on draft day is just to be ignorant, honestly.
No,
I
you're
had no
right. It's a
idea.
good point.
So So I was projected ranked like in the 150s. So going on day one was awesome, honestly. And I was honestly just watching the draft to support the guys that I knew and see where everybody was going in the draft. And I ended up getting a call that day and ended up going on day one, and it was unbelievable.
Did you know the Cubs were interested in you? Did you? I mean, had they shown interest, or was that somewhat of a surprise when you got that call?
Yeah, I knew they were interested. I actually had a pre-draft workout at Wrigley, so I got to experience that. Got to hit on the field, make throws. I performed pretty well, in my opinion. I guess they liked it too. So it was awesome. I'm stoked that the Cubs were as interested as they were and took the chance.
And then so then last year, your first full season in pro ball was a pretty nice season for you. Your Cubs minor league player of the year. I've talked to people. I still think the Midwest League might be the toughest place to hit in the entire minors, and you came in right out of high school and handled yourself pretty well. How much of an adjustment was it to handle pro pitching? Was it easier, more difficult than you thought it would be? I mean, I almost feel like anybody who's a two-sport player, even though I know you gave basketball up your senior year, is automatically categorized, oh, he's a raw athlete because he didn't devote himself full-time to baseball. He's going to need time to develop. But you came in and hit right away in the Midwest League. I mean, what did you think of that whole first-year experience?
Yeah, it was definitely a learning experience. I think what really helped me was developing a routine and developing mental cues that would help me stick to my approach. That was like my biggest things because I knew I had what it took to compete in the box every day, but I just had to make sure I was doing what I needed to be right. But like the adjustment to pro ball pitching was tough. Let me tell you, like my first year in the AZL, I remember I was talking to my buddy back home, and I was like, "Dude, I had just learned what a two seam does." And I know it sounds stupid, but I didn't really play like club ball a ton, so just learning what stuff does and where you need to contact pitches and all the intricacies that go about in baseball. It's a big learning curve, but I think I'm on the right path.
Have the Cubs done much with your swing since you've entered pro ball? Have they made any mechanical adjustments, or is it still early enough where they said kind of go out and see how you perform and then we'll make adjustments as needed?
Yeah, so we're continuing to tweak and make adjustments to my swing, like even as of now. It's a big thing for me was that they wanted me to feel comfortable in the box because they know I have good bat to ball skills, and if you take that away, then I just lose who I am as a hitter. So keeping my identity as a hitter was really big for them, and then making little tweaks that might make the fluidity of my swing better, or just how I contact the ball just pure. That was kind of our main focus.
About the only thing that went wrong for you last year is I think did you break the same finger twice or injure the same finger twice?
So
Is it the yeah? Go ahead.
yeah,
You can tell the story.
I did not really learn how to bunt in high school, and we had all these meetings on how bunting is intricate to what the Cubs want to do and being able to do that. So I thought it would be a good idea to practice. Like I'm in practice, great bunter, not great. I can get them down, but an opportunity presented itself to put a bunt down in a situation. And it's not that I don't trust my hitting ability, but I wanted to show that I had a more developed skill set than what they would have thought. But it just wasn't ready yet, and a two seam ran in on my finger. My form wasn't the best either, and it crushed my index fingernail, and had to take a few days off for that, and then got back in, was swinging it well, was ready to go. Fastball up and in, didn't pull my hands back fast enough, hits the same fingernail, blows the fingernail up. I had to go get it like surgically removed and had to wait a month for it to heal over because it was just a liability to not have a covering on it. But I was able to come back for our playoff run and help contribute. So I was happy about that.
How much? I mean, obviously this year hasn't gone like anybody expected. with the coronavirus and things getting shut down. But how much were you looking forward to getting a full season in this year? I assume you probably would have gone to high class A at least to start the year. How much were you looking forward to that, and how has it been difficult to deal with not, nobody's gotten that opportunity, but has it been difficult, kind of being on hold for 3 months at this point?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's experiencing it, but I feel like it's been really tough because coming off of a good year, I was ready to show that it wasn't just a fluke. That I was just who I was as a player, and that's who I wanted to be, and be able to showcase myself at a higher level against better pitching would have been awesome. But I mean, it's everybody's in the same boat, so you can't really be too mad about it. You just got to deal with what life throws at you and make the best of it.
I mean, I guess as a position player, it's got to be a little bit easier, I would think, than as a pitcher. Because I mean, depending on where you are as a pitcher, like finding somebody you can handle, you can throw to that can handle your stuff, and
Mm.
not knowing, okay, should I ramp up? Should I ramp down? How many innings should I prepare for? It's got to be difficult. You said you were able to like take some live VPs and hit and work out a little bit with players. How big of a group has it been? Has it been mostly Cubs minor leaguers, or has it been other teams as well?
Yeah, so since I'm from here, I know a few guys that have gotten the chance to play pro ball and are on teams. So it's been small groups of us in different like little areas, but we do have some Cubs guys that are out here, and getting back with teammates is always a great time. It's just nice to see their faces outside of quarantine and back on a field.
How exciting was it? I mean, were you expecting, not expecting? I mean, your name is on the 60-man list for the Cubs, so you'll be able to train with, I don't know if we're calling them taxi squads or what, or and I guess we're all going to find out exactly what to expect. I mean, how were you expecting to be added to that? Was that a surprise? I mean, I assume in your case it's probably more to get you developmental at bats than, hey,
Mhm.
Brennan, you might be in the big leagues even though you were in low A last year. But still, I mean, how exciting was it to see your name included on that list?
Oh, I was stoked. Even if it's for developmental reasons, I was just happy that I was going to be able to continue to grow as a player and get reps against like guys in double A, triple A, guys who have been up and down, just being able to pick people's brains like that and get experience and at bats. And that's just what I need as a player right now. And I couldn't be happier about it.
Have they given you much of an idea of what to expect? Do you guys report like in a week or so or the next few days?
Yeah. So I'm flying to Chicago on Thursday. I get tested for COVID, quarantine all day until I get my results back the next day. And then they'll ship us down to South Bend and we'll start training from there. And they're going to build the pitchers up, of course. So they'll probably build us up as well. So because they can't really monitor who's doing what in the quarantine, but I hope I hope people have been on their stuff.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say too, like South Bend. So you were there last year. Do you have favorite? I mean, probably more takeout at this point with everything's going on. Do you have favorite eateries? Are there places you're looking forward to maybe being able to see again in South Bend? Because you probably didn't think you'd be going back to South Bend this year when you left last year.
You know what? If I was really hoping not to go back to South Bend, but in this case, I will. I'll make an exception. But yeah, there's some cool little spots. Even being able to see Notre Dame, it's just a cool campus, so historic, and there's just cool little like shops. It's just such a small town and great fan base, even though there's not gonna be any fans. But it'll be cool. I'm
Yeah,
happy to go back. The
it's a
weather
cool.
is nicer than Arizona.
Yeah, it won't be nearly as hot. Like I can't imagine what it would be like playing in 100 degrees plus. I was gonna say the one time I've been to Notre Dame, it was even it wound up being a little baseball related. I watched Notre Dame play UCLA, and Brady Quinn hit Jeff Samardzija with the game-winning touchdown pass with under a minute to go. So it was a pretty cool
Wow.
experience. I got to see a pretty good game there. But how much contact? I've been curious, talking to various players. How much contact has like Cubs player development been in with you while this has been going on? I mean, I'm sure their teams are trying to walk a fine line between giving guys stuff to work on and kind of check in and make sure everybody's okay, and then not overwhelming you too. But I mean, how much contact? I mean, how often do you hear from the Cubs while the shutdown's been going on?
Yeah, I think the Cubs have done a great job during this quarantine to like stay interactive with everybody, make sure everybody's on the same page. We have probably about three Zoom meetings a week. One with our outfield base running coordinator. One with our hitting guys. They've done a great job with setting up meetings with the big leaguers, and the big leaguers have told us their story and what they do hitting wise and all this stuff, all this learning material. And then we'll have like just whole collective Zoom meetings. So I think they've done as good of a job as you can do during this quarantine. And we have a app called Bridge app, and we send in video of us hitting, throwing, lifting, stuff if they want to see and check in, make sure we're doing everything right. But at the same time, they're trying not to like coach us too much through the video. They just kind of want to see where we're at, because it's kind of hard to do virtual coaching.
Yeah.
But they just checking in. They've done a really good job.
Is there anybody, I mean, I guess we're going to find out exactly what all the interactions will be. You know, everything's kind of still to be determined, but is there anybody in particular you're hoping to pick their brain of a little bit? You know, when you get to South Bend, did you get a chance to do that in spring training before things got shut down, to talk to any of the big leaguers? Is there anybody you've sought advice from?
Yeah, so I got to talk to Jason Hayward a little bit in spring training, and really emphasized how much each outfield rep and each rep you take, it needs to be game speed, and that's just how you become such a elite outfielder, honestly. And he has gold gloves to back up what he's saying, and I respect everything that he's done in his career. So it was just awesome to be able to look up to somebody like that. And I've talked to David Bodie and about his route and all his journey through the minor leagues. It's awesome. I think talking to Robel when I get to South Bend will be cool. Just being able to pick his brain about his experience and when he got called up. And I'm going to be up there with Zagunis, so be able to pick his brain too, because he has some showtime too. So it'll be good.
In terms, I always like to ask players to kind of break themselves down. If you were scouting yourself, how would you describe yourself and your tools as a player?
Ooh, okay. I would say, that's a tough one. Well, let me think. So I try to be a balanced player. I try not to be too heavy weighted in one area. I try to balance the contact with the power. The power's coming with the more weight I put on, but I would say, I don't know. I'm just trying to be an everything guy. Like he can steal bases when he needs to. He can track balls down in the outfield. He's a solid defender. You can count on him. He's a reliable, everyday guy. He will take advantage of your mistakes, so don't miss. Are there holes in my swing? Yes, everybody has them, but just trying to minimize what I can and be good at what I'm good at, honestly.
Well, I think that's fair. I mean, from scouts we've talked to, I mean, I think people kind of grade you out as solid or better across the board. So I think people do view you as that kind of all-around player. You know, once we get going again, what are you looking to work on? What do you think you still need to do to improve? I mean, you're what, about 75 games into your pro career, so I know there's still work to be done. What do you want to work on?
Yeah, definitely pitch recognition. Definitely routes in the outfield can always be cleaned up. Just being the best outfielder I can be. Base running, being more aggressive and trusting my instincts. Just continuing to solidify my swing mechanics and not be afraid to take chances. I think I get a little hesitant sometimes, when sometimes I just need to let it fly.
And I always like to ask guys, who's the best pitcher you've faced? Who do you think's the best pitcher you've run into?
Okay, this might be a little biased because I was coming off injury when I faced him, but one of my first at bats back was against Shane Baz, and
Oh,
he
geez.
blew my doors off. Yeah, so I mean, he was pretty good.
Yeah, he's done
I'll
that.
give it to
He's done
him.
that to a few guys. But well, Brennan, I really appreciate your time. It's been fun catching up with you. Like I said, it was kind of cool seeing the Tyson Miller tweet, because the Trevor Miller tweet, the ball's coming off his bat. They're coming off the bat. It's like, it sounds like baseball again. It's hopefully we'll be back to that soon. So we really that was kind of cool. And good luck. I look forward to seeing you on the field sometime soon.
Thank you. I appreciate you for having me on.
Okay, thanks a lot.